Today, let's talk all about different sewing threads. Welcome, I do sewing and DIY related content, and today we are talking all about different sewing threads. So when you go to a fabric store or really any craft store, you may see there's a bunch of different types of sewing threads available. And if you are a brand new sewer or somebody's been sewing for a while and figuring out the best thread for you, we are going to be getting into it and talking about all the different ones. Now let's start off with what you probably would see the most, and that's just your all-purpose thread. Now, all-purpose thread, especially if you get it from somewhere like Coats and Clark or Gutermann, normally that's going to be 100% polyester. So this is normally what it looks like. You'll see that at the bottom here it says 100% polyester. This type of thread is just like your general all-purpose thread. It is strong, so it's very durable. It has a very slight stretch, but overall very smooth texture, and it works really well for both synthetic and natural fibers. Now, if you look at it, so if we unravel a little bit here, you can see that especially this Coats and Clark one has a very smooth structure, so it works really well for sewing. Sorry, it took a little bit for the camera to adjust there, but this is really high quality thread. The one downfall is that because it is 100% polyester, it sometimes can melt under really high heat. So if you're pressing seams with a very hot iron, you could run into that issue. Now, another type of thread you can have is 100% cotton. Now, this is 100% cotton thread. This one is a little bit more specific as it is purely for hand sewing. So if this was for hand quilting, cotton is normally used the most, especially when it does come to quilting. Cotton can be a lot of people's favorite. It's also really great if you're making something with like a cotton garment. Using just cotton thread can be a really nice touch to it. Now, as you see, while I was filming this video, the cat decided she wanted to join, and I felt like I needed to include all of this in here just because it was so funny. She wanted to play with all the threads, and then once I got them all removed, she was still trying to find them. But now going back to our threads, one thing I will say, especially for polyester thread, is you can get really large counts of it online, but sometimes it will not be the best quality. So here you can see I have this big green one, and unfortunately this is really thicker thread, and then in addition it's almost fuzzy. So if you're trying to find really high quality thread, especially when it comes to that 100% polyester or really any type of thread, you want to make sure that it is made for a sewing machine, but also if you can, you want to look at the thread itself. Does the thread have any fuzziness going on? Does it seem thicker than your normal threads? That can sort of give you an indication into if that's going to be good quality or lower quality thread. I would highly recommend, taking the time, if you can, to really get a few really high quality threads, especially in your neutrals, right? Black, white, tan. So you can see this one was a little bit thicker, so I use it more for hand sewing, but that Coats and Clark, Gutermann, normally those threads are going to be pretty good to go. Now you can also get a lot of specialty threads. For example, this is actually glow in the dark thread. It's 100% polyester, but it does glow in the dark, so that's kind of a fun touch that you can have. And then you can actually have invisible thread. So this is much more, if you feel it, it feels like plastic, and that's because it is. So this is 100% nylon. It is a really invisible type thread. I think you can use these in your sewing machine. I never have though. I like to specifically use these for hand sewing. So doing little darts, doing little areas where you don't want to see the stitch. Then you can get like denim thread. So as you can see on here, it kind of has a really interesting denim color, so it kind of has that variation. It's also thicker, so especially when you're using very thick materials, you will probably want to use a more sturdier thread or a thread that is meant to be used with those fabrics. So you can get denim, you can get very specific threads, and then of course you can start to get fun little top stitching type of threads. So this was one that was for Christmas colors. This thread is pretty thick, so I don't use it too often, and that's something that it can be hard to tell online, specifically how thick the thread is when you get it. But then so I know this one's really hard to see. I've had this for so long when I first started sewing, so I was playing around with it, but this one is 100% rayon, so it is very thin, it's very lightweight, it snaps very easily, so this is not like for structural seams. This one's only for top stitching, and you can get that as well. So threads specifically for top stitching or that have more of like a metallic look to them, they're going to be slightly thinner because they're only supposed to be used for decoration. And then before we finish this video off, I do want to talk about sergers. So serger thread actually is a different type of thread than your sewing machine thread. So serger thread is thinner. You can get it in these big cones, so you actually get a lot of it because sergers go through so much thread. Now, this thread is specifically designed for that high speed sewing. I know that some people do worry about, like, why do I need to buy four of these? I have seen some people talk, if you were just making one little serger project, you could probably buy one cone and then refill that cones like with bobbins so that you just have the one cone, maybe two or three bobbins. But remember that your serger does go through thread a lot faster, so you'd have to be refilling those bobbins quite often. So that's just something that comes with the serger landscape, I guess, is that the thread is different. You wouldn't necessarily want to use this thread in your sewing machine. It's designed specifically for your serger so that you're able to go through it so quickly. Now, for my serger, I have about three colors. I have white, that tan, and that black, and that only gets me through, but again, you could have however many colors you really wanted to do. I have seen some people talk about, like since it is just on the inside, they stick with those neutrals, but again, it's a personal preference for what colors you would like to have. So we have talked a lot about different types of threads. There are so many. Stuffing has also helped us in our video today. Let me know what type of thread you normally go for. Are you somebody who picks the just all purpose all the way, or do you try to do very specific types of threads with your sewing machine? Now, I do have a blog post that has all this information as well, and I will include that below. But let me know what other questions you have about threads or what you want to go into more detail. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.